Good morning, Millionaire, and welcome to the Julie Show. I'm just calling in our special guest from the island here.
Good morning.
That's Salt Spring Island. Good morning, Kyle. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, so you're over on Salt Spring Island, right?
That's correct.
Right.
It's raining here too.
Yes, it is pouring finally. Yay.
Oh, we're not that lucky. We don't have any pouring, just a little bit of dripping.
Oh, well, it might pour because it's really loud pouring here.
Lucky people, bring it.
Yeah, because I don't know how it's been like 2 months since it rained.
Yeah, it's been quite a long time. Who knows if that's the harbinger of things to come or what? But in the meantime, we have to stay healthy, right?
We do.
That's right. And I got a few tips for you today. Things that I've been dealing with, things that I've, a lot of my clients, a lot of people that have been coming to me, or just that I run into on the street. I think the number one right now in regards to the weather and the heat is the air quality. And what can we do to help our breathing, our lungs, especially with all the smoke? And of course, we're always being inundated with something or other.
Yeah.
Something I've found that really helps is doing a lot of neti. And neti, not so much in the sense of neti pot. I mean, you can do the neti pot. The instructions are on the pot when you buy it. It's a left nostril, right nostril alternation with a saline solution and with some warm water. And that certainly helps get in there and clear things up. And any form of it I recommend is highly, highly beneficial. Now, the one I recommend will be a double nostril, meaning you'll fill a glass, about 2 cups. You put about 1 teaspoon to 2 teaspoons of highest grade sea salt you can find. Spin it into the water until it dissolves. Make sure your nose becomes accustomed to the temperature before you put it up to the tip. And you're slowly going to sip the water through your nostrils and spit it through your mouth. It sounds daunting. Don't worry, it takes a bit of practice, and once you get good at it, you'll be slurping it through your nose. You'll be literally feeling the effect of the saline, the salts, all of those wonderful conductive minerals, activating and bringing life back to all your 72,000 meridian lines or energy lines within the body.
It looks classier than picking your nose.
It's so much classier, although I like So that's a really good one, and I've noticed it's really been helping a lot of young men and women who've been coming to me with breathing issues. I've had a few athletes having a bit more time with mucus and just phlegm and liquids in their body, and just trying to excrete it. And oftentimes that's the body's way of handling all these excessive mycotoxins and bacteria, or just the excessive stuff to get into your body that it really has trouble filtering out. Now, so that said, another one along the lines
Wait, Kyle. Before we dig any deeper, because this is awesome, but I didn't get a chance to really introduce you to our audience. So I just wanted to say this is the modern Renaissance man, Kyle Caresse. And Kyle's like over on Salt Spring Island right now, and he's been devoting his life forever to serving people, serving others with his unique skill set and passions. But right now, this is a new thing being over on Salt Spring Island, right?
Yeah, I came here last summer, and I fell in love, and the island was sucking me in, so I decided, hey, I'll give it a shot. And I played back and forth over the year between Vancouver and Salt Spring. But ultimately, I think this is where I want to lay down and set up some stuff.
And Kyle, you do come into town, into Vancouver now and again.
Yeah, about once a month.
To meet with people for different reasons. And Kyle is a holistic nutritionist, and he has a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition. And he specializes in degenerative and often incurable disease. He's run a yoga college in Tel Aviv, Israel. And he has massage training and martial arts and body energy therapy that he practiced in Thailand. And then you, with all the modalities that you've been using, you combined them into the trauma practice.
Yeah.
So the trauma practice is a blend. Yeah. How about you explain more about the trauma practice?
Well, trauma practice is basically the summation of a lot of modalities that I put together, and not all just myself. I've been trained by some highly skilled practitioners who have spent years and years and years and years, basically their entire lives, devoted to the deep recesses, the deep causes of a lot of trauma within the psyche and injury within the body. Now, those are 2 points I like to make a differentiation around, is because, in my opinion, in our view, is we approach trauma as if it's more of an injury to the mind. So it's injury to the body, whereas trauma is to the psyche. And oftentimes that can be a very challenging approach when we're dealing in the physical modalities. And we start talking about practices such as craniosacral therapy. Right? It's a method of coming into a connection, a deep spiritual connection, a deep energetic connection within a body, by using gentle forms of palpation to the cerebrospinal fluid, which is also known as the breath of life. So essentially what I'm getting at is that we're able to approach the healing from many different modalities, from the deep recesses where energy can be stored as holographic imprint. And we attempt to come to a still point and release a lot of that. Then there's also visceral massage, triggering. I integrate a lot of the yoga with it. I find yoga and breathing can take people into deep recesses extremely profoundly. And so oftentimes you'll see this session can be a confluence of a lot of different things working. And sometimes it's just one. It's more or less what intuitively feels right with that person on that day.
Mm-hmm. So you work with craniosacral.
It's pretty complex, but it does the job. It does the trick.
You're working with craniosacral, visceral massage, and then the light-based nutrition.
That's right. And then, of course, we always add nutrition in, because it's really important that we teach people about, or at least that I feel as though it's important that people get a perspective about their electric bodies, and that they're not so much these giant macrobiotic beings that need to intake so many copious amounts of proteins, fats, carbohydrates, just basically matter for your body to break down in order for you to thrive and for you to feel healthy and very, very cognizant and functional in the world we live.
Mm-hmm. I personally met Kyle at a potluck, and just to bear witness to the fact that he was definitely showing his devotion. He was serving devotion to serve, healing is what I mean, is he was serving the golden milk, which is a turmeric, coconut water, lemon, and you had ginger,
turmeric,
and the salt.
Cayenne, and the cardamom. I just gave you my secret.
Yeah, well, and then and it's all about the quality, and then there's these salts that are the sodium bicarbonate, but like really high quality blend, right? That you had pop that in there, and then it was this magical elixir, and I related with him right away, because even though people who eat healthy, they may not necessarily tap a bit further, right? Like, we were talking on a level that not everyone understands, but it's such simple information that we all could have access to realize the connection on how we can self-heal, or at least reverse the disease that we actually inflict upon ourselves just by poor habits that we don't need to hate on ourselves or become paranoid about, but there are ways to resort ourselves or sort of stabilize our homeostasis.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. It's not, and then it's very popular, the whole alkaline concept, and yet we don't need to make ourselves alkaline. The reason why we bring in the alkalinity is to help support the balance, which isn't actually alkaline in your body, right? It's like middle ground that your body always wants to be coming towards.
That's right. They call it the milieu, or the middle in French. The milieu, the medium. And yes, you're certainly going to want to. Well, the body, I always tell people, the body is alkaline by design, acidic by function. So you're taking in all of these wonderful forms of alkalinity.
Yeah.
Your body processes them. It breaks them down. And through that processing and breaking down, you produce metabolites. These are waste products, acids, things that need to be excreted from the body. And one of the biggest mitigators of disease and sickness, any form of illness, is your body's inability to rid themselves of these acids. Once these acids are in your body, and you can't get rid of them, they will tend to recirculate in the blood, in tissue and fluids. First place it tends to go is connective tissues, fibrinogen, collagen. That's why you start feeling it in your muscles first, or in the connective joints. And then slowly, the body has to buffer that with minerals, all the minerals that you need to function. So if it has to store all of these minerals and buffer them to reduce all these acids, they bind them and they calcify them. And that's one of the leading causes of a lot of degenerative disease, arteriosclerosis, MS. It's all a calcification of the body. And you'll hear big popular exponents of this, like David Wolf, or Dr. Gabriel Cousins is another one. These are very popular people, and whose books I highly recommend reading for the sake of knowledge. So that calcification that goes on in the body is ultimately the demise of the body. And we want to stop that, prevent that, and then we can actually reverse it in most cases. A lot of people drink a heck of a lot of fresh green juices, and I've watched uric acid deposits, people's cauliflower ears from wrestling, or just joint deposits and tissues, just slowly breaking down, slowly withering away, so that people can go back to having a very functional, mobile body again. And it's very possible. Even at the age of 50, 60, I have some clients who are doing that.
Yeah, and
so I know it's a lot of information, but it's all a part of rediscovering health. And in this era, I find a lot of new information keeps coming out simply because our approaches at discovering and looking within the human body in different capacities, whether it's etherically or more down to the cellular level, it really doesn't matter. We're getting different insights into it, and those different insights are leading us to discover new approaches biologically, nutritionally, and that's a lot of what I deal with, the cutting edge stuff. You'll often see me put my clients into orgone boxes or pour boxes with infrared heat sometimes, and then all that's covered with a pyramid. So the effects of healing are greater than what we sort of had traditionally been thinking within that box, so to speak.
Yes, I personally like to call you my alchemist, my personal alchemist. I have sat down with Kyle and received an incredible, precise, what would you call it? A consultation and strategy, self-strategy are just very precise on, okay, you need to do this. And there are things that I know, right? And yet he was very good at, okay, this is what's really key to focus on. And it was a lot about how is getting the nutrients. And then the bonus was at one of the products that he makes himself that is extremely high quality. He's going to be launching a line of, this is one of the products that you'll be having your line.
That's right.
The sodium. So it's like a salt blend that just was like really flushed out all my inflammation and really cleared out any constipation and bloating and water retention like nothing else. Even though I have tried the basic sodium bicarbonate and it didn't compare.
Baking soda, which is just baking soda.
Baking soda. So Arm & Hammer, it's better than nothing in some ways, but then the blend that he's making is it's really powerful, and I loved it. And also his sessions with me, just really listening to where I was at and able to access what was the best angle to start at, right? And it was fast. Like I didn't have to do many days worth of the instructions you gave me, and things were changing for me, pain. And it's stuff that I know, right? But it was just it was almost that discipline and coaching to get me to be even clearer. And then you added a few elements of medicine that really sped up a lot of healing for me. So, because I struggle or I battle with arthritis, and so I'm always looking for a quicker way or a faster way or a clearer way to getting the relief, not only relief, but reversing and actually defying arthritis, like overcoming it. And my goal is to reverse the diseases, right? And to actually feed my body what it needs. So he's great. Like he's like a personal assistant, and you are available for consultations, Kyle.
I'm always available for consultations. The website will be completely user-friendly in that capacity, whereas you can go and there'll be instructions for you to, if there's anything that appeals to you in terms of the packages I offer in terms of an approach, you download the PDF, fill it out, send it to me, and I'll get back to you. It involves personal consultations on the phone, of course, if I can't see you right away, but there will be a point where I meet with you. The majority of the clients are currently on Salt Spring or in Vancouver. And so I make it a point to get in touch with my clients for sure, on a one-on-one basis at least once throughout the consultation, and of course based on the extent to which you'd like to get together and work.
And can they email you? Do you have a certain email for them to contact you?
Yep, well I can give it to you right now. It's Kyle at kylecaresse.com.
And you spell
Caresse is spelled Caresse, like the French way.
Caresse. And it's Kyle, Kyle. So
L-E, that's right.
Kyle Caresse at Gmail?
No, it's Kyle at kylecaresse.com.
Oh, Kyle at
that's right.
kylecaresse.com.
And the site is about 90% done. If you want to go to kylecaresse.com, you can obviously see my picture, get a gentle idea of what's going on the site, and then within the next few weeks, everything will come together.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a slow process. I am having a lot of issues with tech in my life. As you can tell this morning, my Google Hangouts wasn't working.
Well, being on the island is like not a guaranteed all the time for your radio waves there, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And hence, we still are able to connect. We're still on technology here.
Amazing. Well, it's a pleasure to connect with you, Julie.
Yeah. And then, so the tip of the day, you were going to launch into, and he's working on a bed and breakfast wellness center out there. I was like, that's the concept. That's the concept of what he's working on out there. So let's see here. We were going into the tip of the day, and it was based on how to deal with this type of weather. Sometimes, like recently, we had a lot of hot weather, but it was like maintaining your health in the summertime. Yeah, and so allergies tend to come up.
We started with the neti, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the neti.
So from the neti, being that we're on the salt and mineral talk, it's important that because it's the summertime and we are outside, oftentimes sweating, it's important that we do get a lot of minerals in us. And the form of the minerals is ideal in a broad spectrum. But, ideally, if you're drinking your water, you're going to want your calcium, your magnesium, your potassium, and your sodium. Those four keep the blood electrified. They keep your body buffering, keep your body happy. You're able to be thinking, you're able to be on your toes, and essentially electrolytes play the crucial essential role in all biological activity that goes on in your body.
Mm-hmm. And would you get a neti? Where would you get that?
So you can get trace elements if you're on the go all the time, you can easily pick up. I know a lot of health food stores, even I think at Whole Foods sometimes has these little electrolyte things now. Concentrace is a great brand. It's a great company that has his ionized minerals, very low sodium, lots of magnesium. One of the first minerals to leave your skin during when you sweat. Most people are very, very low in magnesium. So those are very important. So I would say for now, with your neti, lots of good minerals flowing through your head, cleansing you out, but also ingest that. but not in a sea salt form. You'll want to take that in a specific proprietary blend that's meant to ingest. So with that said,
where would you get a neti pot?
Oh, you can buy them at any health food store. They're so popular now, and in Vancouver, I'm surprised if every household doesn't have one. But
I've even seen them at London Drugs now. If you look the kitchen appliance area. Yeah. So what would be a symptom that someone would recognize? Oh, I need to start doing my neti. Something they've never done before. What would be symptoms that they could recognize? Oh, that's what's going to help me is the neti pot.
Well, if you've never done it, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence. However, I would say just go ahead and experience it once. Read about it if you're still unsure. And if you're still unsure, I always recommend asking some form of health professional. But give it a try. You have to have an experience with it. See what it feels like to you. And it might not be the most savory, like I said at first, but before you know it, the effect is very powerful. Now, a lot of people can't grasp the concept of how energies work within bodies. They think it's more on a physical level. You need to have something coming in and doing the physical job. Well, there is a bit of that, but think of it more as this is going in, tapping on a lot of different energetic pathways in your body, these electric circuits. And a lot of these electric circuits, whether it's because we breathe, we smoke, we don't breathe, we just inhale toxic fumes all day from our workplace, plus the world we live in is pretty toxic. You might say to yourself, okay, well, I have a runny nose too, or I'm often congested. These are good signs. Those are really good signs. So give it a try and see how you feel. Some of the outcomes, some of the effects that I've noticed from a lot of people is you can get dizzy sometimes. So it's important to, place yourself in an environment that's comfortable. You might want to be able to sit down after you do it. The process itself is usually done over a sink or a bathtub. And you are mindful that, you're not doing too much at once. So take your time, as I explained it before, with the 2 nostrils, spinning it through the mouth very slowly. You're going to get it up into cavities all through the all through the sinus, all through the ears, all through the lungs. And if you do it properly after a while, like I was saying, I slurp it, you'll start to feel the phlegm and the congestion in your lungs. So for heavy smokers, people who have been burdened by any form of smoke or pollution, people who are congested, and people who might have just never ever tried it and would like to experience something different.
I think, that, that's cool to mention about smokers. I'm going to get back to that one too. But a good way for people to recognize if they need it is the sinus beside your nose, beside your cheek, between your nose and your cheek, and how it's kind of can form like a puff and it wrinkles.
Sorry, you're cutting out a little bit there.
Hold on.
Say that again?
Somebody's calling me from California. Hold on. It will pass. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there's a the sinus right beside the nose, on either side of the nose, and it gets kind of puffy, and they'll be it'll even leave a crease.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Just before you hit the cheeks and just beside the nose, there's that pad right there of the sinus, right? And when it's just slightly puffy, it will show this line under it because the sinus is heavy. And I think a lot of people don't recognize that that's clearable. That's actually clear, that can flatten out, not with Botox and all, but actually with doing something like this, a neti, right? Clearing out. And people don't realize you don't have to remove your sinuses to help them. You have to cleanse them deeply.
That's right.
And so neti is one of those things that would help. Now, what if someone had their sinuses removed, they still have sinus issues? Would you recommend the neti?
Yeah, I do. I recommend neti. Sinuses removed, like the maxillary, the sphenoid, the turbinates, anything that's been, any issues you've had in the past, I'd say go ahead and do it. You see, it's not so much just about clearing the congestion. Remember, going back to those energy lines. And you can't remove those from the body.
No.
And so to activate and to stimulate those and to bring life over it, imagine it was, I often tell people the body is very much a circuit board that's been fried. And we have all these different pathways that need all reconnecting, all these rewirings. And if we allow for a little bit of conductivity to flow over these electrical pathways, we reintroduce that potential to the body, that life force. We stimulate those meridians, and those meridians in turn also stimulate different portions of our body, organs, glands, systems that regulate everything in our body. Yeah, so the healing isn't always just about, okay, I'm putting salt in my nose to clear out phlegm.
Yeah.
That is a side effect of the overall empowering nature of what you're doing when you do this to your body. It's a profound, profound action. And it was a part of Shat Karma, which is what the yogis would perform every day prior to their physical practice. So, in the yogic tradition, this was very much a part of the morning sadhana, or personal spiritual ritual, that you would wake up, perform the cleansing rituals of the body, this being one of them, and then you'd be prepared to start your physical practice. Yeah, so it's got a lot of merit, is what I'm saying.
Yes, so it's great for also the allergies and all, like especially when the air is really hot and all the particles heat up. Somehow they absorb a lot more into your body, right? Like the toxins in the air when it's hot out. Would you say pollens and toxins are more absorbable when the air is hot in the summertime?
Yeah, that's it.
And then you were talking about smoking, and what if someone was quitting smoking? This would be a perfect way to be repairing, or using the neti pot. It would be a great way to, because often smokers, they lose their sense of smell. And do you think that has to do with the neti pot or this practice could possibly help repair?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do that for specifically those purposes, and you can even take it to another degree and start using different solutions specifically, and this is where we get into alchemy, to really activate parotid glands and all these different taste bud-based glands to be restimulated. Remember, the body will reheal itself. It will come back into where it needs to. And so for one to say that you've exhausted something, you've exhausted your glands, your taste buds, or whatnot, that might be so for the time being, but the potential for that to come back is great. So yes, that's a huge one for that. And in fact, I often tell people who are trying to quit the smoking to take the salts that I recommend. That's one of the greatest craving curbers, is that, your body is often craving the addiction to the microorganisms inside your body, and the microorganisms are craving that tobacco, all that putrid toxic smoke, or whatever the addiction is. And what I often find is that any form of salt, any really high quality salt, especially mine, they really, really help abate addiction. The craving goes away because you're flushing out the bacteria that is asking for that craving. And often that gut bacteria has a direct correlation into your brain and is stimulating and is directly correlating and saying, hey, go get that cigarette. I need that craving. Of course, there's other habitual properties involved, the notion of putting something up to your mouth. But all of those things slowly break down as you develop counter habits to your smoking habit, or any habit.
Very nice. And then, was there something else you wanted to mention before we go today? You're mentioning using a couple of things that will help boost your immunity, I'm assuming, with the MSM and vitamin C?
Yeah, well, vitamin C will help absorption of MSM. But I think for today, just to keep it simple, we'll talk about vitamin C, being that it's not produced in your body, and that we're always, being inundated with stuff. And you know what? Vitamin C is so important. I mean, I can go on and on about its benefits, but essentially getting it in a plant-based form. I know camu, acerola, moringa, and you'll see it obviously in grapefruit and all these other citrus-based things. But it is so important in the effectiveness in healing connective tissue, improving the immune system, detoxing the liver, the brain, the kidneys. And its major role is rejuvenating tissues quickly. So, I mean, if you've had an injury or you're coming out of surgery, it's going to speed the process of healing up exponentially. They say up to 5 times sometimes. Ideally, found in a plant is like I was saying, is the best way to take it. I think that I think that if you can get it in a smoothie, in a liquid form, so you purified it and liquefied it as opposed to taking these hard, chunky minerals or these hard, chunky capsules, is ideal. Yeah, but vitamin C right now is your biggest because we're really downregulated in this world. We're getting bombarded with a lot of toxins, the food, the body needs the repair. So I would recommend anywhere from 1,000 to even up to 5,000 to 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C daily. I'm up to 10,000 a day, but my workload is pretty intense.
Wow. So
yeah,
workload.
And it's made a difference this summer more than anything. I gotta say, I've also recommended it to a handful of people, and they said, I've just started to boost my vitamin C, and I just feel amazing. And really, it is one of those amazing things that we don't take enough of.
Yeah, and it's the season you can get a lot of vitamin C out of the fruits, even like the cherries are amazing right now.
Yeah, I mean, those are top-notch sources. Again, they're sugar sources. I don't care if it's fructose or whatever it is. Be mindful that you're getting it in maybe no more than 25 to 35% of your diet. You can get them, like they say, in these powdered forms from these superfruits, which is a common place to get them these days, that has a very low sugar level.
Right.
And or if you wanted to get it from other low sugar levels, citrus.
Okay.
I know it's good to eat local, and yes, let's go with everything that we can eat locally. But just remember that when we have a high sugar content with that, it's a balancing effect. But like I said, 25 to 35, no more than that.
So, like, how about those emergency packets that have the vitamin C and electrolytes and minerals and stuff? That has a high dose of vitamin C, right?
Yeah, so things like NRC you're calling.
Yeah, NRC.
About, right? NRC, yeah, they're quite popular these days. They have a lot of something like 25 different nutrients in them, and they're actually more of a multivitamin with a lot of vitamin C. That said, they have a whole lot of coloring and fructose, maltodextrin, silicon dioxide, glycine, aspartic acid, all these acids and stuff like that. So, I would say if you're on the go and you need it, way better than anything else. I know they make a lemon lime flavor that it effervesces in the water, so it's a great, quick alternative if you need an electrolyte boost or a B vitamin boost with some of those minerals I was mentioning before.
Yeah, it's going to be a healthier choice than Gatorade, probably.
Yeah. The issue with Gatorade is that, there's many issues with Gatorade, Powerade, but essentially the main issue is that, the food coloring and whatnot, but they only have 2 electrolytes in them, potassium and sodium. There's no magnesium and calcium. Therefore, as a complete electrolyte replenisher, it is highly incomplete. And none of their, getting a little bit more scientific, none of their solutions are colloidally dispersed, meaning they have a high potential within the body.
Yeah, so I love popping like those NRC packets into a fresh coconut water. I like that combination. That's great. That's my first thought when you say up your vitamin C, but what would be other go-to that would be smart to do the proper dosage of vitamin C without counteracting it with it being a high sugar or without it being highly acidic even? Sometimes it seems like, ooh, I ate too many strawberries, That's not a good feeling, right?
Right, and you can tell right away when that happens, right?
Yeah.
Because your body is taking quite a load trying to neutralize a lot of that sugar, and sugar is a waste product. It's an acid. It just breaks down into an acid.
Yeah.
So you got to deal with that sugar in such a way that you're getting some vitamin C too, because don't forget, they guesstimate, and of course this is a study, but they guesstimate that 1 gram of sugar depresses the immune system for up to 4 hours, and that it's a 1 to 4 ratio in terms of if you take 1 gram of sugar, you need 4 more of those grams of vitamin C to replenish within the body because of sugars complete stripping of vitamin C within the body.
Wow.
So yeah, and so like I said, no more than 25 to 35%, you should be in that good range. So in terms of getting sources, teas are great. Teas are fantastic. Yeah.
Like a rose hip, maybe.
Say that again?
Yeah, like, okay, my first thought is, okay, you mean like rose hip teas.
Amazing. Rose hip is chock full of them.
Yeah.
It's an incredible one, and there's lots of other ones that have lots of trace amounts of the minerals and vitamin C in them. I often recommend going to an herbal shop and asking for a female tonic or a male tonic, and you'll find specific tonified formulas and herbs for men and for women. Some of them might appeal to you, some of them might not. Oftentimes they're quite tasty, but I find getting them in that capacity, in an herbal capacity, is some of the strongest ways you can get it. And it's a lot of local ingredients. And so it's important that you're getting local nettle, local plantain, local red clover. Sometimes people even grow saw palmetto, ginseng, skullcap. All of these things are very available in the area. So, the effectiveness is greater.
And if you're in Vancouver, I would probably go to Gaia's outlet. They usually have a lot of local herbs.
Yes, they do. They're great there. Yeah, they're in Kitsilano.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're great. So they're a great some. Another source, like I was saying, camu, acerola.
Oh.
These are extremely
I love
high sources of
acerola.
vitamin C.
I love the acerola is the cherry.
I think it is acerola. I think it's ACEROLA.
Yeah, it's the Amazon orange berry cherry.
That's right. Yeah.
Camu, acerola.
So these again are not local, but you can, if you're looking for that, trees, pine trees, and specific fir trees, in certain times when they have young needles, they're high in those things.
Yeah.
I know that you'll find bark off of a lot of trees have an exceedingly high amount of vitamin C. So you could take bark off of a tree in a survival situation, which is another thing that I'm doing right now, is I'm teaching a lot of people how to build survival kits with high potency stuff. But a bark off a tree.
Yeah, a
specific
sumac
type of tree. Well, yeah, and you can just boil that for a little bit, and there's tons of vitamin C in that. And they used to, the walnuts or the some of the acorn trees, you can ground that down and make gentle flowers with tons of vitamin C in it. Roots of other plants. If you're out in nature trying to survive, a lot of root plants will carry a lot of vitamin C, so long as it's not flowering at that time, whereas the energy is up in the plant, the energy won't shoot you down in the root. So those are a few other sources, but green things often have a lot of vitamin C too. So if you're eating a lot of green vegetables, you're out in nature and you're just picking wild stuff. Wild stuff has tons of vitamin C. Usually has a good profile of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this huge kaleidoscope of healing awareness, specifically drawn towards the summertime. But it doesn't matter what. Anytime someone's watching this video, you can apply all of this to any season, really. But it's just specifically addressing the summer issues of feeling stuffed up or
certain energies, certain frequencies, certain light spectrums play in differently into the summer and into the vitamins you're taking throughout the course of different seasons. So, it's important that we honor that and that we recognize the difference between the seasons and, the nutritional necessities our bodies require.
And remember, if anyone wants to get in touch with Kyle and is interested in his consultations, so you can reach him at Kyle at Kyle Caresse, and that's CARESSE.com. Kyle at Kyle Caresse.
That's it, Julie. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone, and welcome and goodbye. We had a great session here with Kyle, and remember, go out there and millionize your life. Talk to you later, Kyle.
Have a great weekend.
Okay, happy weekend.